Good day, learners. Welcome to Life Sciences lesson. My name is Julia Tladi. This lesson is brought to you by Sci-Bono Discovery Center in collaboration with Gauteng Department of Education. Grade 11 learners, our focus for today will be on introduction to photosynthesis and the process of photosynthesis. Okay, learners, in life sciences, we have terminology, and terminology forms a backbone of the topic. Photosynthesis is a term that you must know, that you must master, because it will be a term that will be assessed in the topic test. It can be assessed in the control test, weekly test, and also in the examination. So it is very, very important that as and when we unfold the process of photosynthesis, all the new terms that we will come across, you must make sure that you understand them. Okay, from the diagram here, we are having a diagram showing different pictures, and they are illustrating what the process of photosynthesis is. Photosynthesis is the building process of carbohydrates. The carbohydrates that will be built from this process are the glucose. Glucose will be formed from carbon dioxide and water using radiant energy from the sun. That will be trapped by the chlorophyll. Oxygen will be released to the atmosphere, and this process occurs in an organelle known as the chloroplast. This process occurs from the raw material, that is carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide from the atmosphere is one of the requirements for photosynthesis to take place, together with what? Together with water molecules. Water from the soil. Water from the soil will be absorbed through the roots into the stem, then it will move to the aerial parts of the plant, the aerial parts of the plant being the leaves. Using radiant energy, and the radiant energy is from what? Is from the sun. They will be trapped by what? By the chlorophyll. What is a chlorophyll? Chlorophyll is a green pigment which is found in the organelle chloroplast. From the definition of photosynthesis, we have seen all these parts, all this material responsible for photosynthesis to take place. But the last one is this one, oxygen. Oxygen will be released from the oxygen from the leaf will be released into the atmosphere. Do you understand the illustration of the process of photosynthesis learners. This is very important, grade 11 learners, that you understand the process with all the materials that are needed for the process. Any question on the definition of photosynthesis? In the absence of none, let us continue. We are now going to focus on the plant cell. In grade 10, you will recall that you studied the two types of cells, that is the plant cell and the animal cell. Photosynthesis is a process that occurs in plant cells, but where specifically in plant cells. Now, let's have a look at the structure of the plant cell and understand different organelles within the plant cell and their functions. A plant cell is covered by the outer layer known as the cell wall. So this layer, the green layer here, is known as what? It's known as the cell wall. The cell wall followed by the cell membrane. Then followed by what? By the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm is the background of what? Of the cell, of the plant cell, where organelles are embedded within. Now, within the plant cell, there are very, very important organelles that you must know also for next year in grade 12. Isn't it that grade 11 learners, next year you'll be in grade 12? Yay! So it's very important that you know the parts of the plant cell and their functions. We have a very, very important part that you will learn more about it in grade 12 next year. That is the nucleus. A nucleus is covered by a nuclear membrane or the nuclear envelope, and it has the nuclear pore. And inside the nucleus, there is a what? A nucleolus. And within the nucleus, we also find the chromatin network. They are found within the nucleus. These are important parts that you must know. Another part that is also very important, another organelle that is also very important, is the mitochondrion. This is the mitochondrion. This mitochondrion, you will learn more about it next in the next topic of cellular respiration. Mitochondrion is the powerhouse of the cell. Why is it said to be the powerhouse of the cell? Because this is the organelle where energy is released. We have another part, which is the large part of the cell, the vacuole. Vacuole is said to be the largest part of the plant cell. We have other organelles like these are they are tiny. You can't see them well, but they are just dot-like structure. These dots are known as what? Are known as the ribosomes. Ribosomes are also important for the formation of proteins. You will learn more about ribosomes in grade 12 next year. These parts are these organelles are very important for next year in grade 12. Now, let's talk about the most important organelle. Why are we doing the structure of the plant cell today? This is the organelle where we are going to focus our attention on. The organelle is known as the chloroplast. As you can see, it is what? It is green in color. This is the organelle that contains a green pigment known as chlorophyll. Any question on the structure of the plant cell, learners? Any question? In the absence of none, let us carry on. The structure of the plant cell. Parts and function of plant cell. Mitochondria are a membrane-bound organelles, often called the powerhouses. I've spoken about this to say they are known as the powerhouses of the cell. Why? Because energy is generated from the mitochondria. And this energy is responsible for the biochemical reaction within the cell. We have another organelle, another part of the cell that is also important, and this is known as the cytoplasm. A cytoplasm forms the background of the cell, and it is in a jelly-like substance that fills the cell, containing 90% of water, also containing dissolved nutrients and waste products. The main function of the cytoplasm is to hold together organelles which make up the cytoplasm. So the jelly-like substance will hold together all the organelles which are embedded within the cytoplasm. This is the function of what? Of the jelly-like substance which is found within the cytoplasm. Then we have the organelle that we are going to pay more attention on. The organelle is known as the chloroplast. A chloroplast are organelles within the plant cell. And the function of the chloroplast is to do what? Is to absorb light. To make what? To make carbohydrates during the process of photosynthesis. Chloroplast is an organelle inside the plant. It absorbs light from the sun to make carbohydrates. Carbohydrates that will be made or that will be produced are in the form of what? Are in the form of glucose. We will learn more about the chloroplasts and the food that will be produced from the chloroplasts. Hey, grade 11 learners. Hi, the chloroplast is a very, very important part organelle in the plant cell, ne? Because from it we will get what? We will get food. So it is an important organelle of the cell with other organelles that I have mentioned. Any question? Okay, in the absence of none, let us carry on. Very important information. In the beginning of our slides, I've talked about the leaves as the aerial parts of the plant. A green leaf. Now we have the cross-section of a leaf, where we are going to learn about the main tissue system within the leaf. The leaf is protected by the dermal, that is the epidermis, which covers the upper and the lower surface. On top of the epidermis, there is a transparent waxy layer known as the cuticle. The cuticle is the transparent waxy layer that is found on the upper epidermis of the leaf. I said the leaf has the upper epidermis and the what? And the lower epidermis. There are also mesophyll inside the leaf, and these mesophyll cells are containing chloroplast. We are going to see we have two types of mesophyll cells. We have the palisade mesophyll underneath the upper epidermis, and also the spongy mesophyll. Why spongy mesophyll? It is known as the spongy mesophyll because it has air sacs, and the air sacs are responsible for the exchange of gases. We will learn more about the exchange of gases, which will take place within the leaf. And also we have the veins, which are found inside the vascular tissue, and these are known as the vascular tissue veins. This is the vein, and these vascular tissue veins are known as what? Are the xylem. We find the xylem, and what? We find the xylem and the phloem. In grade 10, you have learned about conducting tissues. And with conducting tissues, we were referring to the xylem and what? And the phloem. So the xylem and the phloem here are what? They are forming the what? The part of what? Of the vein of the leaf. Then on the lower epidermis, we find the opening known as what? We find the opening known as the stomata on the lower epidermis of the leaf. We are still on the structure of the leaf. We said that it has a cuticle, which is a waxy layer, and the waxy layer will protect the upper epidermis of the leaf and the lower epidermis of what? Of the leaf. But the cuticle, it is found only on the what? On the upper epidermis. So the upper epidermis has a waxy layer which is transparent. It is transparent so that it can allow radiant energy from the sun to penetrate through the upper epidermis into what? Into the chloroplast. And that radiant energy will be absorbed by the chlorophyll, which is the green pigment within the chloroplast. epidermis, it is not only found on the leaf, but it is also found on the outermost parts of the leaves of the plant, parts of the plant like the stems, the roots, and the leaves. Stems and the roots, they also have the epidermal layer. We have the structure here, which now shows the waxy layer, waxy cuticle. We said it is transparent so that a light, radiant energy or light from the sun can penetrate through. Radiant energy from the sun can penetrate through the transparent, waxy layer known as the cuticle. The upper epidermis, which is a brick-like structure. The upper epidermis, it is in the brick-like structure. Can you see, grade 11s? The upper epidermis, ne? And it is a layer, it is a single layer. Upper epidermis, it's a single layer, and the function is to protect the underlying tissues. Also, the lower epidermis, a single layer protecting the underlying tissues of the leaf. We have on the lower epidermis, we have the gut cells and the two gut cells. These are the gut cells. We find an opening here known as the stomata. The opening here, let me write it clear so that everyone can see. We have the stomata. This is the stomata. A stomata, it is an opening where gaseous exchange will take place. Remember, we said there are two types of mesophyll. That is the spongy mesophyll and the palisade mesophyll and the spongy mesophyll. The difference between the palisade mesophyll and the spongy mesophyll is that the spongy mesophyll has air spaces. Can you see there are air spaces in the spongy mesophyll? So the air spaces in the spongy mesophyll will assist with the exchange of gases. Gases will easily diffuse from the chloroplast into the air spaces, then will move out of the leaf through the stomata. Do you understand, grade 11s? The structure, the inner parts of the leaf. These are the inner parts of the leaf. We have the area here having palisade mesophyll. In the palisade mesophyll, that is where we will have more chloroplasts. There will be more chloroplasts in the palisade mesophyll than in the spongy mesophyll. Palisade mesophyll, meaning the process of photosynthesis will be more concentrated in the palisade mesophyll than in the spongy mesophyll. Why? Because there are more chloroplasts in the palisade mesophyll. Okay, remember I said you must know the parts of the leaf and their functions so that you will be able to differentiate between the two or between different parts which are found within the leaf. It is very important, grade 11 learners, that you understand all these parts of the leaf so that you understand the process of photosynthesis. Palisade mesophyll is a layer of tightly packed. It's a layer of what? It's a layer of tightly packed. The layer is what? It is tightly packed. It has elongated cells. Okay? The layer being tightly packed. Mesophyll layers, they are at what? Sorry, the palisade layer. Sorry, the palisade. Grade 11 learners. Palisade mesophyll. Palisade mesophyll. They are at a right angle to one another. Being at the right angle to each other, can you see they are what? They are lengthened, and we say they are elongated. They are elongated cells. Elongated cells meaning they increase their surface area. Palisade mesophyll is a tightly packed mesophyll which is elongated cells forward for increasing their surface area. And we said that this is the part of the leaf in there where we find more chloroplasts. Palisade mesophyll, we find more chloroplast in it, and it is also said to be the primary site for photosynthesis. Grade 11 learners, why is it said to be the primary site of photosynthesis? Primary site for photosynthesis, meaning this will be the first site where the process of photosynthesis will take place. Photosynthesis will take place in two phases. That is the light phase and the dark phase. That is the light-dependent phase and the light-independent phase. We say in the palisade mesophyll of the chloroplast, that is where the photosynthesis will take place and is known as the primary site. Is the primary site because light phase of photosynthesis will take place in it. We have the spongy mesophyll. Now, you will get to understand the difference in terms of the structure, the structural differences between the palisade mesophyll and the spongy mesophyll. Spongy mesophyll has what? Has loosely packed cells, and it has some air spaces. It is also essential for photosynthesis because of the air spaces, because of the space in between. You see the air space. You see the air space in between the spongy mesophyll. This will assist in the exchange of gases. The diffusion of gases will take place, and those gases will move through these air spaces. Hence, we say they are responsible for the exchange of gases. And one will ask, but ma'am, Tadi, Which gases are you referring to? Remember, when I was talking about the definition of photosynthesis, we said that gases like carbon dioxide will be taken into the leaf, and the gas oxygen will be released from the leaf into the atmosphere. So when we say the spongy mesophyll will facilitate the exchange of gases, these are the gases we are referring to. Another important information about the lower epidermis is also important in the sense that the lower epidermis has the waxy cuticle, which will prevent it from excess water loss. It has the stoma. It has the stoma, which is this, the opening. It serves as a door or a window. It is known as the what? It is known as the stoma or the stomata. So, it is very important that you understand the structure of the leaf, the cross-section of the leaf, so that you know as to where is the process of photosynthesis taking place the most inside the chloroplast. We have the palisade mesophyll, we have the spongy mesophyll. Palisade mesophyll is tightly packed with elongated cells. We said that the cells are lengthened to increase their surface area for the process of photosynthesis to take place. Having more chloroplast, it means more photosynthesis will occur. Spongy mesophyll has lesser chloroplast because it has some air sacs or air space. The air space will allow the exchange of gases. The lower epidermis has the opening known as the stoma or the stomata. We will learn about the stomata as the part where gaseous exchange will take place. We have the vascular tissue. Remember, when I was showing the structure of the leaf, I said that the veins, those veins, they are referring to what? What do we find inside the veins? We find the vascular tissues. And then those vascular tissues are known as the xylem and what? And the phloem vessels. The function of the xylem is to transport water and mineral salt to the what? To the leaf. And the phloem transports sugars and other organic compounds produced during photosynthesis to the rest of the leaf or to the rest of the plant. Talking about the xylem, we said that water will be absorbed from the soil into the roots. The roots have the xylem. The xylem will do what? Will transport water. And water from the roots is absorbed by the process of osmosis. Then water will move from the soil into the xylem of the roots to the stem of the plant, and finally to the aerial parts of the plant, that is the leaf. And when food has been manufactured, when sugars and organic compounds have been produced, they will be transported through the phloem to other parts of the plant. because they also need energy to can perform other processes within the plant. Any question, grade 11 learners? Do you understand, grade 11 learners? Let us continue. Yay! I've talked about the stomata. Now, what do we see in front of us? We've got two stomata that are what? That are appearing differently so. Differently so. The other one is open stomata and the other one is closed. Hey, the other one is open and the other one is closed. Yeah, this is very important. This is very interesting, hey? Why is it closed? Why is it opening? Okay. Within the stomata is this opening, remember? And then between this opening, we find the bean-shaped like structure known as the what? Known as the gut cells. So these are known as, these are the gut, these are the gut, these are the gut cells. The gut cells appear as a bean-like structure. But because it is a cell, it contains the chloroplast inside, it still has the vacuole, and it is covered by walls. The wall here is what? Is thick wall. It is covered by the thick wall. The inner wall, it is thick, and the outer wall is what? It is thin. And it also has the epidermal cell. It has the nucleus. It has the chloroplast. But this stomata, this one is open. It is open because we can see that there is a passage here. And when it is open, it allows the movement of what? Water can move through, and the gases can also do what? Can also move through. Now, this one is closed. Can you see there is no space now between the two gut cells? This shows that this stomata is what? Is closed. Grade 11 learners, it is very important that you also know the difference between a closed stomata and the open stomata. And it is very important also because you are still going to talk about factors affecting the rate of photosynthesis. That is where you will learn about when is the stomata opening and when is the stomata closing. Any question concerning the structure of the stomata? Remember, they are found on what? On the lower epidermis of the leaf. Okay? We are continuing with the structure of the leaf. The gut cells forming the stomata, they are found at the lower epidermis. And the stomata is responsible for what? For the exchange of gases, whereby oxygen from the atmosphere will be taken in through the stomata. Carbon dioxide from the atmosphere will be taken in. This is the carbon dioxide is taken in through the stomata. Where to? To the chloroplast. And oxygen will be taken out of the leaf through the stomata. oxygen will be released to the atmosphere through the stomata. Hence, we say it takes carbon dioxide and gives out oxygen during the process of photosynthesis. And also, the stomata, it helps in removing water from the leaf. It helps also in removing water from the leaf and in regulating water movement through the process known as transpiration. In grade 10, you have learned about the process of transpiration, where we said that water is lost in the form of water vapor through the leaves. That process we said is transpiration. So the part of the leaf that is responsible for regulating water movement in the leaf is known as what? Is known as the stomata. Any question, grade 11's learners? Any question? Okay, let's move on. Okay, grade 11's learners. In life sciences, we assess by using topic tests, bi-weekly tests, informal class activity, or you can even have a homework to complete at home. So we always assess, and our assessment is based on what you have learned. Our assessment is also preparing you in answering questions based on different cognitive levels. Assessment is also assessing if you are able to answer questions that are asked concerning different cognitive levels, the levels of difficulties. Are you able to answer questions? Because remember, we cannot just teach without assessing. We want to see as to whether our learners understand. We want to see if learners do have knowledge of the topics. They do understand what is actually taking place within the leaves. What are those parts? What functions do they perform? What is photosynthesis? So now we are having activities. Activity 1, it is based on terminology. Earlier on, I said that terminology forms the backbone of the topic. So now we are going to answer these questions on terminology. Remember, before you answer any question, each and every question will have their instructions. It is very, very important that you read the instructions and understand as to what is it, how are you supposed to respond to that question. Like in activity 1, the instruction is give the correct term of the descriptions below. It means it is not only this one description. Are we together? It's not this only one description, but there are descriptions below. But for now, we have 1.1. Also, what guides you to answer, to give the correct answer? The stem of the question. We normally say there are key words. Are we together, grade 11s? So, who can tell me? I've been talking. Who can tell me what is the answer to this question? A transparent covering of the epidermis of leaves and stems. 1 minute. What do we call that transparent covering of the epidermis of leaves and stems? Hello, grade 11s. What is the answer? Okay, learners, let me help you. The answer is the cuticle. The answer, transparent covering of the epidermis of leaves and stems, is the cuticle. The second one. What is the tissue that lies between the upper and the lower epidermis of leaves? Grade 11 learners, the tissue that lies between the upper and the lower epidermis of leaves. Okay, the answer is the mesophyll. The tissue that lies between the upper and the lower epidermis of the leaves. Remember, we said there are two types of mesophyll, isn't it? The palisade mesophyll, which is found on the upper epidermis, and the spongy mesophyll, which will be found at the lower epidermis. But this one, it says a tissue that lies between the upper and what? The tissue there is the mesophyll. It can be the mesophyll it can be the palisade mesophyll, or what? Or the spongy mesophyll. But the correct answer is the mesophyll. We don't want the type of mesophyll, but we want the tissue. Thank you. What do we call special epidermal cells which allow for gas exchange? What do we call special epidermal cells which allow for gas exchange? Learners, what do we call epidermal cells which allow for gas exchange? Any answer? Okay. The correct answer is the stomata. Special epidermal cell which allow for gas exchange. The correct answer is what? Is the stomata. Okay, grade 11 learners. What do we call the collective name? What is the collective name of xylem and phloem? Collective name of xylem and phloem. What do we call them? The xylem and the phloem. What is the collective name of xylem and phloem? What is the collective name of xylem and phloem? Okay. The correct answer is the vascular bundle. The correct answer is the vascular bundle. Okay. This activity was based on terminology. We had only 4 questions. So, grade 11 learners, this terminology is very, very important. Activity number 2. Activity number 2, the diagram shows part of a section through a leaf blade. Now, you will also find another assessment question you will be assessed on a diagram this time. So it is very, very important, grade 11 learners, that when you study the diagram, you must make sure that you know the parts that are found within the diagram. You must label the parts first, and you must also know the what? The functions of those parts. Because I'm telling you, these are the questions that you will come across in the examination. Activity 2, 2.1. The following diagram shows part of a section through a leaf blade. The diagram has 5 letters. So we have letter A, letter B, letter C, letter D, and letter D. Question 2.1. The question says, identify part D to E. And you must also be careful about this question. It doesn't say identify part C, part B, part A. It says D to E. It means, and then you look at the mark allocation. Mark allocation there is only 2 marks, meaning you must give 2 answers. Identify part D. What is part D? And what is part E? Who can answer me? Who can give the correct answer or try? Grade 11 learners. What is part D? What is part E? Okay. Part D is the lower epidermis. And part D, what is part D? I mean part E. Part E, we are referring to the air space. Part E shows the air space. In which letter part does photosynthesis takes place mainly? In which letter part does photosynthesis takes place mainly? And also, you must show. Yes? Any question and answer to this one?
Part B.
Part B. Very good. In which letter part does photosynthesis take place mainly? It takes place in part B. Very good. Why part B? Why part B? Why do you say photosynthesis takes place mainly in part B?
The layers are tightly packed and cells are elongated.
Very good. Because it is tightly packed with what? With chloroplast. Excellent. Very good, Lena. Yay! She got it right. In part B. Because part B is what? Is tightly packed with what? With the chloroplast. Very good. And 2.3. How is part mentioned in 2.2? How is part mentioned in 2.2 structurally adopted for its function? This one is, hey, it's a little bit tricky. How is part mentioned in 2.2? By the way, we said what is part 2.2? What is the name of part 2.2? In which part does photosynthesis take place mainly? We said is what? Yes. What is the answer for 2.2? Okay. We said
Palisade mesophyll.
we said the palisade mesophyll. Very good, learners. We said is the palisade mesophyll. So, how is palisade mesophyll structurally adapted for its function? How is palisade mesophyll? How is it able to perform its function? Hey, grade 11 learners, 5 marks. It's a lot, ne? It's a lot. But I must get the 5 marks. How is it structurally adapted to perform its function?
It has many chloroplasts and maximizes photosynthesis.
Very good, girl. It has many chloroplasts, isn't it? It has many chloroplasts to do what? To maximize. The cells are elongated within the thin parenchyma cells under the upper epidermis. Elongated. I'm happy that you have mentioned that cells are elongated, okay? And then the parenchyma cell is what it is. It has what? It has thin walls. Thin walls to do what? To allow light to pass through the upper epidermis. And also, you said it very well to say that it contains large number of chloroplasts. So the large number of chloroplasts will enable it to do what? Will enable it to absorb maximum amount of sunlight for photosynthesis to take place. I am so happy. I am so happy you were able to answer this question correctly. So the cells are packed longitudinally and packed tightly. Why? To increase their surface area. Very good. And then they are packed close to one another. Remember, I said that they are at a right angle to each other, isn't it? Ne? So that they are against one another without the intercellular spaces. And this will do what? Will ensure that there is the greater surface area exposed to the sun for photosynthesis. And the cell wall is very thin. Cell wall is what? Cell wall are very thin for what? For easy diffusion. When we're talking of easy diffusion, we are talking about the exchange of gases during photosynthesis and also during respiration. So during photosynthesis, the exchange of gases will be what? Will be carbon dioxide moving inside the what? Inside the leaf through the stomata towards to the chloroplast, and oxygen moving out of the chloroplast of the leaf through the stomata to the atmosphere. Thank you. Thank you, learners. Let us continue. Wow, the structure of the chloroplast. We've talked about the chloroplast found where? In the palisade mesophyll and in the spongy mesophyll. These chloroplasts are organelles which contains chlorophyll. Remember, we said that chlorophyll is a green pigment that traps light energy for photosynthesis. The chloroplast has a green disc shaped, which are made up of the outer and the inner membrane. And these are within the chloroplast. We will also find there what? We will also find there the stroma and what? And the grana. So we have the structure. This is the structure of the chloroplast with the parts within the chloroplast. Okay? We have the ribosomes within the chloroplast. We said the ribosomes are responsible for the formation of what? Of proteins, okay? But now, most important parts that we are going to learn more about with within the chloroplast is what? Is the stroma. The double membrane, it has the double membrane. The inner membrane, the inner inside, the outer membrane, the outside. And then we also have the thylakoid. A thylakoid are what are there? Are stacks-like structures. And then this inside this, there is what? There is chlorophyll. So this will be the thylakoid. And the thylakoid, they will make a structure known as what? They will make a structure known as the grana. And we also have the starch granule. The starch granule, this is where a starch will be stored. The starch that will be produced after photosynthesis, after the process, after a dark phase of photosynthesis. Then the product that we are going to talk about, we are going to talk about a glucose that is produced. But this glucose in the plants will be stored as what? Will be stored as starch. And where? In the chloroplast will be stored in the starch granule. Hey, the chloroplast has what? It has the DNA. We have, because it is a plant cell, hey? This plant cell has got what? Has got the DNA. And then what do we find in the DNA? We find the genetic material within the DNA. We find the genetic material within the DNA. Genetic material within the DNA. Hence, we have what we call the chloroplast DNA. Learners, this is very, very important. You must know the structure of the chloroplast. You must know the structure of what? You must know the structure of the chloroplast, parts of the chloroplast, and their functions. Because we said that the chloroplast, it is the organelle responsible for photosynthesis. So the chloroplast being the organelle responsible for photosynthesis, then you must know exactly where and how, within which structures is light phase of photosynthesis taking place and dark phase of photosynthesis taking place. Structure of the chloroplast, the double membrane allow water and carbon dioxide to enter easily. It is a permeable membrane, meaning it permits substances to move in and out of the cell. There are stack-like structure. Those stacks are what? Are stacks of thylakoids that are known as what? They are known as the granum, or what? Or the grana. We have the liquid which forms the background of the chloroplast, and that liquid is known as the stroma. The starch granule, where glucose produced will be stored, yes, in the form of starch. In this structure, which structure are we referring to? The what there? The starch granule. We have the lamella. The lamella is the membrane that make up the thylakoid. The membrane that make up the thylakoid, this is known as what? It is known as the lamella. Okay? And then the thylakoid, okay, DNA. DNA contains chloroplast DNA. It contains genetic information. Thylakoid, disc-shaped membrane that contains chlorophyll. And remember we said, chlorophyll is the pigment that will trap light, that will trap radiant energy for photosynthesis to take place. Okay, yeah, assessment. We must make sure that, hey, all the learners understand. You understand the process of photosynthesis. This is the structure of what? Of air. Is the structure of what? I don't know. What is the structure called? What is this organelle called? I don't know. Who can tell me? What do we call this organelle?
Chloroplast.
It is known as the?
Chloroplast.
Very good. Excellent. It's known as the chloroplast. Let us identify part labeled A. What is part labeled A? Yo, I can't see it well. What is part labeled A?
Double.
Part labeled A. It is the what? Okay, we'll do corrections on that. Okay, thank you. What is part label B?
Starch granule.
Very good. A starch granule. What is part A? Okay, what is part C? And D? Part C is? Okay, part C is the stroma. Very good. And what about D? Look at the D. Ne? Look at the D. It is look at the D. Is what? Okay, D indicates. Can you see there? The arrows are indicating into 2. They are pointing into 2, isn't it? It shows there.
Double membrane.
Very good. Excellent. It's a double membrane. I said double membrane. Oh, I have a brilliant class here. A is the thylakoid. A is the thylakoid. Can you see the thylakoid? Do you see the thylakoid? But in that structure, it was like something, it was something like this. Ne? Yeah. So make sure that you know the structures very well. But thank you for listening and giving the correct answers. Give the letter of the part that will be active in light. Give the letter of the part that will be active in light. Which letter? The thylakoid, because it contains chlorophyll. Chlorophyll traps light, radiant energy. And then the letter is what? The letter is A. What is the name of the organelle of this diagram? What is the name of the organelle of this diagram?
Chloroplast.
Very good. Excellent. Chloroplast. Very good. Starch granule, thylakoid, chloroplast. Activity 4, the structure of the cell. What is part number 13? What is part number 13? Look at number 13. What is number 13? Number 13? Number 13 is pointing here. It's talking about this organelle. What is this organelle? Okay, let's move on to the next one. What do we call this organelle? Number 12. What do we call?
Vacuole.
Is the vacuole 12, ne? Vacuole, 12
Yes.
is vacuole. And then what is 13?
Mitochondria.
13. Look at 13. It's green in color,
Yeah.
13. 13, this one.
Chloroplast.
Chloroplast, the green pigment, the green one, the green organelle, hey? The green organelle. Good, is the chloroplast, okay? And then, what is number 10? Let's look at number 10. Yo, what is number 10? Number 10 is? And you said it. You said it initially. What is number 10?
Mitochondrion.
Is the
Mitro-
mitochondrion. The
mitochondrion.
mitochondrion. Mitochondrion. Then part 1. Part 1. What is 1? What is part 1? The outer layer, the covering that protects all the inner parts of the cell. What do we call it in plants? We call it what? What do we call this layer that covers? It's known as what? In plant cell. And it's making this plant cell to have shape. It's making the plant cell to be rigid. What do we call it?
It's a cell wall.
Oh, very good. It's a cell wall. Excellent. It's a cell wall. And then number 2. What is number 2? After cell wall is what? After cell wall, this one is what is there? Hey, I am giving you homework. Hey, this is your homework. Hey, grade 11 learners, this is your homework. This is your homework. Make sure you study the structure of the plant cell. Okay, 1 is cell wall, 2 is cell membrane, 3 is the cytoplasm, 4 nuclear membrane, 5 the nucleus. Okay, 10 mitochondrion, 12 vacuole. The last one is the chloroplast. Yay, you got it. Okay. Grade 11 learners, now we are going to talk about the main theme of the day: production of food. How is food produced? Glucose or carbohydrates are produced by using raw materials, that is carbon dioxide, water from the soil, radiant energy, chlorophyll from green plants with the aid of enzymes. Enzymes will assist during this process. For you to master the process of photosynthesis, please make sure that you write it in word equation. In word equation on your left-hand side, all these requirements on the left-hand side will be your what? Will be your the requirements on the left-hand side. This will be your requirements. What is it that is required for photosynthesis to take place? And on your right-hand side will be your products. And in the middle, we have chlorophyll and enzymes. Then you will say carbon dioxide together with water and radiant energy with the help of chlorophyll and enzymes will do what? Will produce glucose, and oxygen will be released to the atmosphere. This oxygen will be released to the atmosphere as what? As a byproduct. So this will be your requirements, and then this will be your what? This will be your products. Okay, now I said for you to master this process, make sure you know it in a word equation. Yes, I know there are science learners who would want to do it in a chemical reaction, but remember, in a chemical reaction, it won't be balanced. But I think the best way is for you to do it in the word equation. Requirements and product for photosynthesis: radiant energy is needed, water is needed. We've talked about this. Okay, then let's see the process of photosynthesis. It's divided into 2 phases. That is the light dependent phase. It occurs in the presence of light, and the light independent phase. This one is known as the dark phase. it doesn't need light. It doesn't need light to occur. Hence, we call it the light-independent phase. And it occurs where? In which organelle? Chloroplast. Where in the chloroplast, it has in the thylakoids containing chlorophyll, and then light phase will take place in the what? In the grana, and then dark phase will take place in the what? In the stroma. Then in the stroma, we will find enzymes that will be responsible for the light-independent phase. The end products will be what? Will be starch, which will be stored in the what? In the starch granules. Glucose will be in the form of starch, and then that will be stored in the starch granules. Light phase of photosynthesis. During this phase, we said that it occurs in the what? It occurs in the grana. Now we have to be specific. Why are we saying it takes place in the grana? Because in the grana of the chloroplast. Are we good? The grana contains what? It contains the chlorophyll within the thylakoid. Grana contains the chlorophyll within the thylakoid. Oh, this is very important. Listen attentively. Light-dependent phase of photosynthesis occurs in the grana of the chloroplast. Let's look at one. One is what? It is there. It's the sun. One is the sun. 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 Oops, my pen doesn't want to write now. My pen doesn't want to write properly. Oh yes, the sun. From the sun we get radiant energy. The radiant energy will be absorbed in the grana of the chloroplast. Then what will happen with the radiant energy? The radiant energy will be highly energized, and it will do what? It will be highly energized, and it will change into chemical energy. Let me repeat. From the sun, we'll get radiant energy. Radiant energy will be trapped in the what? In the grana of what? Of the thylakoid. And then in the grana of the thylakoid, then that radiant energy will do what? Will change into what? Into chemical energy. Remember, energy is not lost, isn't it? Ne? But it can be transformed from one form to another. So now, radiant energy is now changed into chemical energy. What will the chemical energy do? The chemical energy will now split water molecule into hydrogen atoms and what? And the oxygen atoms. And the oxygen will be liberated or will be released to the atmosphere. Oxygen, do you see this is the oxygen? The oxygen will be released to the atmosphere. Then let's have a look at what happened to the water molecule. The water molecule was broken down, or it split into what? Into hydrogen atoms and what? And the oxygen atoms. Then these hydrogen atoms becomes highly energized. It becomes highly energized, and it will be taken by what? By the coenzyme into what? Into the light-dependent phase. And where is light-dependent phase taking place? It will take place in the what? In the stroma. And we also have ATP. Where is this ATP coming from? Okay. Radiant energy, because it is what? It is now changed into the chemical energy. Then ATP will be what? Will be produced as what? As the high energy carrier molecule as well. and the process where water has been broken down, or the process whereby a water splits into oxygen and hydrogen atoms, the process is known as what? The process is known as photolysis. Now, let's see as to what is it that the chemical energy will do. Remember we said radiant energy changed into chemical energy. Then that chemical energy was used to form an energy carrier, ATP. The chemical energy is used in two ways. It's used to form energy carrier, ATP, and then also it has split water molecule to release a high energy hydrogen atoms, which was transferred to the dark phase, and oxygen released to the atmosphere as a byproduct. This process is known as photolysis. Photo, it occurs in the presence of light. Photolysis, light splitting, photolight. Radiant energy now becomes phosphorylated, meaning that the ATP got an extra phosphate. It was ADP together with a P, then it became energized, gaining an electron to be ATP. Then this ATP is known as the energy carriers in the cell. Let us move on. This is the light phase of photosynthesis. This is the phase that occurs in the presence of light. And it occurs where? In the grana of the chloroplast. Then during this phase, oxygen, during light phase of photosynthesis or the light dependent phase, oxygen will be released to the atmosphere as a byproduct. And hydrogen will be highly energized, and this hydrogen will be now moved towards to the stroma for the light independent phase to take place. And also ATP will assist in the dark phase of photosynthesis. Let's have a look at the dark phase of photosynthesis. Dark phase occurs in the stroma of the chloroplast, meaning it can occur in the presence or in the absence of what? Of light. Light is not required during this phase. Now, the carbon dioxide, which we talked about, remember we said the stoma will do what? Will allow carbon dioxide to pass through. Now, the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere will be what? Will be absorbed into what? Into the stroma. And the carbon dioxide, because we have enzyme activities within the stroma, the carbon dioxide will do what? Will combine with the energy-rich hydrogen atoms. Carbon dioxide will combine with the energy-rich atoms to do what? To form, with the aid of what? Also, with the aid of ATP. Remember, we said that the ATP is the what? It is the energy carrier. With the aid of ATP to speed up this process, through with the what? With the aid again of what? Of the enzymes. Then carbon dioxide will combine with hydrogen to form what? To form carbohydrates. These carbohydrates, they will be stored in the form of what? They will be stored in the form of starch. And where? In the starch granules. In plants, it will be stored in the form of starch. Starch is a what? Remember, a starch is a what? It is a polysaccharide. It is a polysaccharide. Starch is a polysaccharide. Then it will be stored in what? In the starch granules. Are we together, grade 11s? Are we still together? Then carbon dioxide combines with the hydrogen that is highly energized together with ATP to form what? To form glucose. And this process occurs where? It occurs in the stroma of the chloroplast. This process occurs in the stroma of the chloroplast in the absence of light. Hence, it is said to be the light-independent phase or the dark phase. Hence, it's said to be the light-independent phase or what? Or the dark phase. Learners, do you understand the two phases of photosynthesis? Do you understand the two phases of photosynthesis? The first phase is the light phase, which occurs in the grana of the chloroplast. And this phase, we said it occurs in the presence of light. Hence, it is known as the light-dependent phase. It occurs in the presence of light. Let's have a look at the series of events during this phase. It occurs in the grana. The grana have what? Chlorophyll. Chlorophyll, it absorbs the radiant energy. And radiant energy will be changed into chemical energy. The chemical energy, yes, hello? Any question? Any question? Hello? Yes, I can hear you. Okay, Buntle. Yes, Buntle. Your question, Buntle? Yes, Buntle. I can't hear Buntle. I can't hear Buntle. Okay, thank you. Okay, then we said that the chemical energy will now change water molecule into hydrogen atoms and oxygen atoms. And the process is known as photolysis. The hydrogen atoms are highly energized. They will be taken to the stroma with the aid of ATP. And in the stroma, with the aid of ATP and enzymes, it will combine with the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere to make glucose molecule. Activity on the process of photosynthesis. Sun is needed where in organelle A. What is organelle A? Organelle A is the chloroplast. And then what is the gas that will be absorbed in organelle A is oxygen, and is carbon dioxide, sorry. The gas is carbon dioxide, and the gas that will be released is what? Is the oxygen. And then we see water molecule coming in, and then in C, gas at C will enter part D. What is part D? Part D is the stroma. And then we have glucose. Where do we find the glucose? The glucose will be found in there. The glucose will be stored in the starch granule. Identify the following. Organelle A is the chloroplast. Organelle D is the stroma. And part D is the starch granule. The gas that is released is oxygen at B. And the gas at C is carbon dioxide. The phase occurring in the presence of light is known as the light phase. Grade 11 learners, thank you for your participation. You were such a good class. Thank you.